Hi guys, Stephen here. A lot has happened since I last recorded one of these solo episodes, so I thought I'd jump on and give you the full update. So, what's been happening? Well, I actually moved the family over to Dubai in the last few weeks. I think we've been here for around 10 weeks now and it's absolutely flown by. It's been amazing. And only now have I managed to carve out proper time to commit to podcasting again. And I've got some phenomenal guests lined up and we're going to bring a whole new energy to this, broadcasting from Dubai with a much sharper purpose behind it. Suited and Booted, as you know, are the sponsors of the podcast, and we'll be telling you a bit more about them over the next few weeks as well as doing more collaborations. Let me start on the personal side first, actually. The move here has been phenomenal. From start to finish, the process was really smooth. The decision itself, had been bubbling away for a couple of years, and I just didn't pull the trigger sooner because for different reasons, the timing just wasn't right. And, at one point back in 2024, we actually had an offer accepted for what I would describe as our dream house back in Scotland. It was huge, stunning property. It was exactly what we were after at the time. But the buyers for our property, they were trying to get a mortgage. They had attempted 3 times with different lenders and they couldn't get a mortgage. And eventually the whole deal collapsed. Now, we could have waited for another buyer, but rather than going through the stress of it all, we decided one day, fuck it, let's just go to Dubai instead. And, that might sound impulsive, but it really wasn't. It'd been on my mind for quite a long time, and it just felt like one of those sliding doors moments that you get in life sometimes. The timing finally made sense. And, why Dubai? Well, I've been coming here on holidays for quite a long time, and I've always loved it. The safety, the weather, the lifestyle. But honestly, the biggest reason for us moving was the kids' education. We wanted to give them something better than what they were getting back home in Scotland. And, even after 5 weeks of them being in school, it's pretty clear to us that it's been a massive upgrade. It showed us how far behind they actually were compared to some of the kids of the same age here, even though they're still in the British school system, really. The family is much happier. There's no doubt about that. And, there's a real energy here in Dubai that's hard to explain. When you're surrounded by like-minded people who are all trying to push forward, it rubs off, and everyone's got a mindset focused on. Hey guys, Stephen here with a quick interruption to the episode, but it's for good reason. I want to give a shout out to the official sponsors of the Built Different podcast, Suited and Booted. These guys are a premium formal and casual wear brand with stores across Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Glasgow. And I've been working with them for a while now, and to be honest, I was actually buying from them long before we became partners. I'm actually wearing some of their products today whilst recording this episode. They're on a mission to completely change the tailoring game, and they're doing it. The service, the attention to detail, the quality of the products, it's all first class. They genuinely outshine their competition. And what I love most is that we are aligned on values. They're humble, client-focused, and all about creating a top-tier experience. That's exactly how I try to run things too. So whether you're leveling up your wardrobe, prepping for your wedding, or just need to look sharp for a boat party, brunch, or big business event, go check out Suited and Booted. Head to suitedbooted.com, or better yet, visit one of their stores. You'll get the full experience and you'll leave feeling sharper, more confident and ready for your next big event. Now, let's get back to the episode. And progress. And, that's contagious. And, on the business front, things have been just as strong, if not better, actually. Even with all the logistics of the move. Emirates IDs, visas, flying the dog over, setting up the house, buying all the furniture. We've managed to get a lot done on the business front. In the last 10 weeks, despite juggling all of that, we've managed to do 5 or 6 deals across the board. That's a range of, some equity acquisitions some business restructures, some mentoring for business owners and executives looking to do their own deals. And just recently, whilst I've been over here, we've actually recorded a brand new online product as well. And that's aimed at business owners and high performing executives who want to buy businesses without using their own money. These are the same sort of strategies that we use ourselves. It's not theory or fluff. It's not recycled advice from people who've never actually bought or built or sold a business. These are actually real working methods that I've used, and people inside the program that have actually joined early are already benefiting from those strategies, and they're already closing deals. And that's just in a matter of weeks. And also without risking their own cash, their house, their private property, their assets, etc. And that's the power of doing it right. And that's what this program that we've actually built online delivers. There's a bunch of ways that help business owners like you. So feel free to click the link in the show notes for more info on that. Now, back to the podcast. We've got some incredible guests coming on. People with serious experience, incredible stories, and huge insights. And I'm buzzing to have them on the podcast and have those conversations, because that's why I started Built Different in the first place. I wanted to learn, I wanted to challenge myself, I wanted to sit in rooms with people doing things better than me and bring those conversations to you. So that's what I'm planning on doing on the next chapter, raising the bar and leveling up the podcast. Now, let's talk about some of the challenges of moving. Now, to be honest, there weren't many, if I'm honest with you. Just small things like, waiting around for Emirates IDs and paperwork. But, when you zoom out, the actual move, visas, banking, company setup, it all got done in about 4 weeks. That's pretty quick. At the time, it didn't feel like it when we were going through that, but it was pretty quick. And of course, moving a family, isn't cheap. You've got a budget for everything: house, cars, school, furniture. Flying the dog over was probably the hardest bit emotionally, actually. You never really know how they'll cope with a flight because you've never been on a flight before. But, she did great, which was the most important thing. We were in temporary accommodation for the first month, waiting for the house to be ready. And when you get here, some things were surprisingly affordable. Things like taxis, fuel, electronics, furniture. Other things like rent and days out, definitely more expensive than back home, but the quality's a bit higher too. And again, you're in Dubai, you're in amongst that energy, and that makes a huge difference. On budgeting, for example, we thought we were being smart, and we were, but it's easy to spend more than you planned here in Dubai. There's just so much going on. You want to take advantage of all the things around you, and weirdly, that's part of the magic. It drives you to do more, to make more, to grow more. And most people I speak to over here say the same thing. You work harder out here, but you tend to enjoy life a bit more. And, that's a balance that I can get on board with. The cool thing I love about the move here, honestly, is waking up every day, going outside, walking the dog and getting some sunshine. That simple habit has changed everything, actually. It lifts your mood, you move more, you think better, you create more. And that's a kind of non-negotiable for me now. And sure, summer here, whilst we're just about to experience it, the heat can get pretty wild. You're not going to do midday walks, stuff here in the heat, but for most of the year, the weather's nice. That daily sunshine is a bit of a gift. And the tan's not bad either. Maybe not in this lighting, to be fair, but still. All right, so guys, that's the update with the podcast. Welcome back to Built Different. There's a lot of exciting things coming, and let's get into the next chapter properly. And remember, if you're enjoying this, make sure to subscribe, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and of course, drop me a message if I can help in any way.